Okay. Ah, welcome to Poppy's Workshop. I am a little bit beside myself right now because I just did a 10-minute interlude. And then when I switched over to the scroll saw, it was blank. I don't know what is going on. This is just absolutely ridiculous. I'm upset right now. I'm kind of getting tired of the whole streaming. I leave things set up exactly the same and then they don't work. You know, I went through 2 weeks with video, then last week audio's giving me fits, then this. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of angry right now, and you know, and considering the number of views that I actually get. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to rethink whether this is really worth the effort, I'm sorry to say. I may just go back to recording short 10 minutes and maybe posting, but, you know, that's even more work. Yeah, something to think about. But anyway, welcome to Poppy's Workshop. So I am working on the new pieces for the chess set. These are going to be the light pieces, and I am making them out of ash. Now, ash is a 1330 Janka, and that is in comparison to about 1,000 for the walnut that I use for the dark pieces. So this is a lot harder. In my previous video that I just hid, I am concerned. I'm actually going to abandon cutting this for fear of wasting wood. The reason being is even though I am pretty close to center on each of these, I had one hole on each side deflect by the time it got to the bottom, meaning the spaces between the windows would get incredibly thin, or they'll be deformed because of the actual drill bit being in it, the drill bit hole. So rather than waste, 6+ inches of wood, I'm going to peel this off. I'll be able to do at least a bishop, maybe even the queen down here, and then I have all this wood up here. So I'm only losing, less than 1/4 of an inch. The reason why I'm concerned about that, number one, is looks, of course, but number two, it's the waste of wood. I finish with just a little bit under probably about 10 or 11 inches of wood, but it's 3 separate pieces. 2 I can make pieces out of. The other is really waste wood. So I'm probably talking 8 inches of wood total that was left over for the, now why isn't that moving? Oh, okay. It is moving. So I just lost track. I'm so ticked off. The waste wood, if I have to redo a piece, like I had to redo one on the other, I don't want to, you'll have to excuse me, I got a cough. Oh, excuse me. I've got to be careful. I mean, I can always buy more, but I bought just a little bit over from what I had planned to use. So if I see something's going to go wrong, then why bother? So there you go. All right, let's get cutting here. Let me show you what I am doing. So I am actually working on the rooks, and what I did is I cut out the top sides of both, and I'm debating whether I'm going to spin it and do the identical cuts on the 90-degree or do the cut here. I think what I am going to do is do the inside cuts and then come back, redo, because when I cut that out and then turn it, there is some movement because of the kerf, and I think I want to see how this works, especially with this much harder wood. So I am going to rotate that 90 degrees, get that open, and get it down. And let's see, I'm just doing the inside, so I'm not really worried about yeah, this is kind of weird. I'm trying to press down on both sides here, trying to press down there to make sure that I'm pretty smooth here. And then, let me clean the deck off here. And then I do my little wiggle test. So, there you go. All right, so what we're going to do, let me get my pointer out here. Or actually, no, I'm not going to leave red marks. Let me get that up a little bit. So I'm going to do this one first, and I'm debating whether I'm going to drive out to this side here, nibble, turn, come down, nibble, turn, come up, slight nibble, and come up here, or start here, do a wide nibble, and then make the turn. I'm actually thinking I want to go a much shallower turn here and see what happens. Oh, you know, I may not be public here. Son of a gun. Unbelievable. I'm sorry, I didn't check that. All right, let's see if it's actually working. Yeah, there's just another brick in the wall. And where is my menu? Come on. All in all, it's just nutter. All right, let's see. Live. All right, it says it's public. Okay. Yeah, sorry folks, but hey, you didn't miss much. So anyway, yeah. So I just been chatting for 8 minutes, and the stream was not public because I started another stream and the video was not working. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is just, I'm having a very frustrating day, and I'm not sure if I want to continue doing this, to be honest. I really don't know. So anyway, back to the scroll saw. All right, so as I said, I think I'm actually going to drive this way, nibble, and control that. Now, one of the things that I want to make sure that I'm doing is minimizing the amount of bend, flex, when I'm turning this blade, because again, I'm going through 1.5 inches of wood. I am doing a wood that's a little bit harder, 1300 Janka. You know, if this was 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, no big deal. I can do a little bit trickier turns, some snap turns, a little bit more. But what I want to do is minimize the amount of heat on the blade. So when I originally ripped this, you can see all the scorching. And now, granted, the blade that I used was from the previous cutting. That was a very dull blade by the time I finished the last piece of the walnut pieces. So I didn't want to use a new one on it because really ripping doesn't matter. I just needed to make sure that I had a piece that would fit in my jig. So yeah, that's what it is. All right, let's see what I'm going to do here. Oh, before I forget, let me just pinch that so it doesn't move. One of the things that I am doing is I'm using hard surfboard wax and just putting a little bit on. Now, it will wear off really fast. So the actual benefit of it, unless I keep feeding it, is probably minimal. But I do want to get a little bit of lubrication in there, real lubrication. Again, I will go back to a statement, and I will stick by this statement. People say that when you put tape down to glue your template to, your pattern to, or you use, like I do, clear shelf liner, that helps lubricate the blade. I do not believe that, because you're cutting it away and it's going up, it's getting clogged up with sawdust and stuff like that. If there's any benefit, it is so infinitesimal. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I think that's an old wives' tale in the scrolling market, or not market, but the blogosphere. And I am one to not be afraid to challenge that wives' tale, to be honest with you. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get my classic rewind up, and I don't know if I'm hearing it. Let me see here. Get my noise. Yep. Get my noise canceling headphones, and I think that's it. I don't see anybody online, so I'm going to shut up until I see somebody online. Let's get the vacuum on. Yeah, that definitely is louder. So as I said, I'm going to drive to this corner here. And you can see with the wax, it actually cuts quite smooth. So I'm at the juncture there, and I'm going to nibble just slightly to make that blade turn easier. There we go. Notice it snapped into place. So you can see how slow I go. And I'm going to nibble. Clean it up a little. I'm going to make a bigger nibble. There we go. So I'm giving space for my blade to turn with minimal bending or deflection. I stop, let the blade catch up. And I watch how the blade tracks. So this nibble gives me a perfectly square 90-degree corner and an easy place for me to turn my blade. Minimize that friction, minimize heat, because that causes the stamped blades to dull faster. Yeah, you can see I'm going to the left a little bit. Now you'll notice most of the time I keep the scrap wood to the right. I found with Flying Dutchmen that they tend to drift to the right, and I assume that's because of the way they're stamped. And by keeping the waste wood to the right and the drift to the right, if I make a mistake, most of the time, I will drift into the waste wood, thus not the actual piece. Trying to make a clean finish here. There we go. So always make sure, especially when you're doing pieces like this, make sure your deck is clean. Because if you have a little scrap underneath, I forgot to wax my, usually I've been trying to wax my blade every time I go to a new inner cut. No big deal. But I can hear, well, that chatter is because I'm going through another cut from the 90 degrees. So many people will look at me as, oh, you're so slow doing all those nibbles. You don't need to do that. Yeah, maybe. But my goal when I create these pieces is I have to create 4 of these. 2 and 2. I want them as close to exactly the same. Meaning I split my lines, I cut my lines identical. Alright, I'm letting the blade catch up and planning on how I'm going to do that straight cut. And as I nibble, go slow and everything, I'm just trying to keep my heart rate down, keep my mind clear, make it more of a Zen kind of thing, except when I'm talking for the video. I want this process to be as relaxing and as enjoyable as possible. And again, being very intentional. See, I'm looking at how the blade is going to track, and you see me just micro-adjusting as I do, a very slight forward motion. And if I'm off, I try to be off no more than a quarter or a half a point, so that from a distance, not even a very far distance, the eye will not be able to detect any variation between pieces. Let the blade catch up. Now this is where I want to be careful not to nick the other side. Alright, I gotta take a look here and see how I can clean that up. Yep, I still got one piece in there. Don't see where that piece went. It might have fallen into the middle somewhere. So again, I've cut this way, as you can see. I think you can see that. Alright, so yeah, much easier with the wax. There is a difference for the first 30 seconds or so. What I'm going to try and do, I always find I'm going to nibble the other way a little bit. I'm going to pre-shape that curve. So I'm just watching what the blade's doing. Because that's a critical curve. I'm pulling back slightly as I make this turn. I gotta stop there because I think I may be nibbling in too far. Yeah, I'm not seeing things. Problem with old eyes. Even through a magnifying glass. See a little. There we go. Okay. A lot of that'll be fixed when I sand. Alright, that's clear. Whoop. What am I doing? Oh, here a nibble. Yeah, I kind of like shaping it in advance. That's better. Now the wax does make a difference. I got one piece. No, two pieces. Three pieces. All right. There's too much friction. Yeah, this is a lot harder. This blade's hot. Yeah, I can feel that melt. Get a little wax in there. So this is a long, straight cut. Some areas will be easier than the other because like I'm going through the 2 holes right now of the 90. And then, yeah, it's like really hard here. And I can see myself pushing more, so I'm going to relax. There we go. Very easy here. Ooh. like exactly how that tracked. I think his blade is... Oh, actually, that's not too bad. So I am going to nibble here. You know, all right, folks, I haven't had anybody come on in the 30 plus minutes, so I think I'm going to call it a day here. So, you make it a great day.